While the trends may say that jeans are getting skinnier, leggings on the other hand are getting wider. We went from yoga pants being all the rage to all the way skinny down to the ankle leggings, back to flare leggings again a few years ago. And now in true Gen Z fashion, we've taken leggings and made them as wide as possible with these straight wide leg leggings. As if leggings weren't comfy enough, we needed those same soft, comfy materials, not tight against our legs, but flowy and loose around our bodies. Ever since Oner Active launched their straight leg soft motion bottoms, it seems like everyone cannot get enough of this wide leg trend. We still keep that fitted top of the legging to flatter all our attributes up there, but then the leg part remains really wide and comfy like a sweatpant. So it's kind of best of both worlds. While we will be talking about the Oner soft motion pants today, Oner is not the only one with these wide leg bottoms, and we have 8 options for wide leggings. Is that what I'm gonna call them? I feel like wide leg leggings is too much, so maybe just wide leggings. So we're gonna talk about which one may be the best for your preferences, your body shape, and your budget. We have options from $32 to $98 today. This video has been long in the works because as soon as I see someone come out with one of these wide leg pants, I just immediately buy them. Honestly, brands have been a little slow. I just know we're probably gonna get some good ones later this year from brands that I love, but I feel like I had enough that we could start talking about these. So I know more will come out. I also am only testing mostly options except for one that have no front seam because I just don't really like to wear a front seam. That was another thing that made this review kind of hard to collect all of these. And I wish more of these options had 3 inseams because this is the kind of pant that looks silly if they're too short. They just are obviously looking like floods, or they drag on the ground, which is not good either. So you really have to get the right length for these. As always, I will have my normal legging points that I always mention about every legging, but I added a couple specifically for the wide leggings. We'll be talking about the leg shape, if it's more of a straight leg or kind of flared wide leg. We'll talk about the flare point of all of these bottoms because some of these start to get loose around the hip, some upper thigh, some mid thigh, some lower thigh, and that does really impact the look. And lastly, how much these ride up, because in my journey of trying all of these wide leg pants, I realized that ride up is definitely a thing. With flare leggings, they're generally tight all the way down to the knee, so because it all tapers down, they can't really move up. But with these straight leg pants, they are all kind of one width, so there's no taper point of the fabric to really prevent these wide leg pants from riding up. So some of these today, I get some pretty bad gathering around the thighs and you lose a lot of length from that. So without further ado, let's start talking about the wide leggings. Before we continue, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, OGL Move. I actually tried OGL recently in my built-in bra tops video and I absolutely fell in love and have shopped from them multiple times since. So this is a very exciting sponsorship because I already love their stuff. And one of the reasons why I love them so much is because they have really cute styles that are comfortable, but also include full shelf bras. A lot of brands will say they have a built-in bra, but just put the cup pads and it's really not enough support for me. This is one of their tops in a really cute butter yellow color. I turned it inside out so you guys can see it. They have a full built-in shelf liner with an underbust elastic, so it's actually providing some support. And they also have removable cup pads. The cup pads are very high quality. A cheap crinkly cup pad is honestly just going to ruin the look. So I love that these cup pads are in this really natural shape. They have a tapered edge. They're just the perfect material, size, and shape where they actually give you some shape and support, but they're still unnoticeable under clothing. I used to completely avoid certain necklines on tops because I would either have to wear a strapless bra under it or I couldn't even wear a strapless bra under it. And honestly, I get more support from their built-in shelf bras than I do from an actual strapless bra. I'm just going to quickly share some of the pieces I got recently. This is the boat neck cap-sleeved ruche brami. I like that it has a little line under the bust. I really love that the materials are very breathable, lightweight, and stretchy. They're just very comfortable, but still look really cute. I paired this top with the stretchy mini skirt that has a built-in shorts, which is an essential for me. As we transition to fall, I did want to get some long sleeves. So this top has a really cute boat neck. Of course, the built-in shelf liner for comfort and support. Another transition to fall piece. This is the stretch cotton boat neck brami tank. Again, something I could probably wear a bra under, but it might peek out. So it's just nice that it's all included. And then I love a matching set. So I grabbed this nice little turtleneck midi skirt combo. This one does not have a built-in bra, but you can easily hide a bra under it. And I just thought this was another really cute fall piece. So I've absolutely been loving their pieces. My top choices are definitely their built-in bra tops. I'm slowly replacing all of my basics with these tops. They did give me a discount code for you guys. It's CATH20 for 20% off your order, and I will have their link in the description below. So we have to start out with the Oner Active soft motion straight leg bottoms. We're kind of going from expensive to affordable at the end, but I just didn't feel right not starting with the soft motion bottoms for Oner. So these are $68, which I feel like It's a little more expensive than Oner usually is, but definitely still in that mid to high price point, not the most expensive today. So they come in sizes extra small to extra, extra large, and they do come in inseams short, regular, and long. It is a real pet peeve of mine when brands do not put the exact inseam length on the website, because what does long mean? Might be long for you, might not be long for me. So when I first reviewed these pants when Oner Active SoftMotion came out, I got the long inseam, and I swear the inseam was like 36 inches. They were dragging on the ground. I was tripping over them. Guys, I am 5'9". When have I ever tripped over pants? Never. So I ended up returning those because they were too long, and I ended up getting this blue pair, which on the website they did say that the colors really vary in terms of the fabric, and I really don't like how this navy feels. When I first tried the green and like the soft pink, all of them were very soft. The navy feels a little bit rough and really clings onto pet fur, so I don't love that in terms of the fabric. Overall, the fabric does feel very lightweight, very naked feel, and slightly brushed, but again, I will say this blue one does have a little more compression than some of the other colors. Anyways, I returned them and got these. I got the regular length, and this is a 33-inch inseam. 33 inches is perfect for me for flare leggings, but we'll learn throughout the video that you do need an extra inch or two for these wide leg pants because of the ride up effect. So we'll get into how these ride up in a minute, but just some details about these. We have a double thickness waistband with no top band. It is a little bit tapered, so kind of defines the waist a little bit. No front seam with a triangle gusset. These ones have a nice mid to high rise. This is about as low as I want to go. You do see a little bit of my belly button, but not the whole belly button. Great for my shorter torso girlies. Overall sizing for these, I would say true to size. If you're in between, you could really go either way. If you want to be a little bit more compressed, size down. If you just want an ultra comfy look, size up. One good thing about these wide leg pants is they tend not to be pulled down because they keep like riding up, so gravity kind of like keeps them in the middle. Then we flip to the back, and I would say that Oner has one of the most flattering back areas on the glutes. None of these today have any sort of scrunch, hidden scrunch, elastic, or anything, but Oner does have these nice defined glute seams that the way that they sit on the glutes, it's not too angled or too exaggerated. It really just contours the glutes well. And then this seam up the back sits between the cheeks, so it's almost like you have a scrunch, but you don't. So you get a lot of glute separation with these. Because there's no scrunch or anything, I kind of want to put them at the medium to high on the booty scale, leaning towards high. The fabric is on the thinner side, not a lot of cellulite coverage. In terms of short versus long glute friendly, I would say that this is kind of short to medium glute friendly. How you know if you have short or long glutes, basically this is just the length of your sacrum. The vast majority of people, you're right in that medium glute area. How you know if you have long glutes is if you put on leggings and you often get this seam sitting on top of your glutes and not on the hip bone, you likely have long glutes. If you have short glutes, you usually have this seam sit really high above the hip bones when they should be like right along the hip bone. So if they sit too high, you have short glutes. If they sit too low, you have long glutes. If you've never really thought about it, you probably have regular glutes. Then let's talk about the leg shape of these. These are very much just a straight leg. They are called the Oner Active straight leg bottoms, so I would say that that is accurate. The flare point on these is about mid to upper thigh. I would say they start getting loose after the bulk of my thigh, and I find that the wide leg pants that flare at this point, they're very flattering on the glutes like these, and you do have a little bit of area below the glutes where they are still tight, so it kind of defines them back there, but it can almost look like the pants are kind of clinging to the thighs and then kind of loose away from them. So depending on what look you're going for, sometimes it kind of looks like they cling to your thighs unintentionally. And then for each legging, we will do a riding up test. The Oner Active SoftMotion pants are the first time I really realized how much these wide leg pants could ride up, because when you have them at the full length, the 33-inch inseam is good for me, but I was out and about walking around in these, you know, going to lunch, sitting down, standing up, and the wide leg pants that sit kind of right at the upper thigh like these do, they really just ride up quite a bit. So I get a lot of ride up in these pants, and because of that, the 33-inch isn't long enough for me. These very quickly become floods. So for me, I feel like I need like a 34 to 35-inch inseam on these, but it still is kind of uncomfortable when they ride up there. Lastly, we'll be doing the sticker squat test for all of these. So I do have a little sticker when I'm squatting. So if you see the sticker, they're sheer. If you don't see the sticker, that means they're pretty squat proof. For Oner SoftMotion, I definitely find the lighter colors to be quite sheer, but the darker colors like this navy were pretty opaque. So overall for Oner, these are really like the OG wide leg pants. pant that went super viral. And I do find these to be one of the more flattering options, but on me, they do ride up a little bit. And I wish that there wasn't such a big jump between the inseams because I think it goes from like 33 to 36. And I just feel like neither of those really work for me. Next up, we have our widest option. These are the Popflex Supersculpt wide leggings. I got a size small tall, and these were $78. These come in size extra, extra small to 3X. I got the tall inseam, which is 34 inches, but these by far come in the most length options of any of the pants today. They come in a 27 inch, 29 inch, 31 inch, 34 inch, and a 37 inch. So really all of the heights are covered. That's something I love about Popflex. They really try to be size inclusive and height inclusive. Some details on these, they're made of their Supersculpt fabric, which feels a little bit different to me than the previous Supersculpt. This one feels like a light to mid-weight soft brush fabric, but it's definitely thinner than some of the Supersculpt I've tried in the past. Supersculpt does attract a lot of pet fur, and these only came in black. So unfortunately, these are just going to be covered with fur for the rest of ever. This is why I don't like black leggings. I can never get all of the fur off and it drives me crazy. These have a double thickness waistband, no top band, no front seam, with a triangle gusset. These ones are an ultra high rise. They do go quite a bit above my belly button, so you can definitely tell that waistband is pretty wide up there. These ones are one of the more unique ones today in that they do have side pockets. So we have a nice spacious side pocket with a little bonded edge at the top seam, so it stays nice and sleek. And then in the back, we do have curved glute seams. They did kind of adjust the seams a little bit. They always sat really low. Now I feel like they sit maybe a little bit too high, but I think a lot of it is that it's just such a high rise that there's just a lot going on in the back. These are definitely more long glute friendly. Cellulite, because these only come in black, they're pretty cellulite friendly. And this fabric does have a good amount of brushness to it. True to size overall, if you're in between, you can really go either way. And then we get into the leg shape. So these are the most unique leg shape today. They're not only wide, but they're also flared. So these are huge. It's giving yoga teacher. They are huge at the bottom. They're kind of a mood, but also like just a lot of fabric. In terms of the flare point, they do get wide starting around the upper thigh area, pretty similar to Oner. So they do kind of look like they cling to the upper thigh and then kind of flare away. Because of that flare point, these definitely do ride up quite a bit. So I did get a lot of fabric gathering after squatting. And I did a squat test for the riding up just to quickly show how these ride up. But personally, I wouldn't wear these to the gym, and they do still ride up regardless of if you do like actual squats in them. In terms of the sheerness test, I do find this fabric to be pretty dense and very squat proof, so no worries about sheerness here. So overall, I really wanted to like these because I liked how many length options they had, which by the way, the 34 inch inseam was a little bit long for me on these just because there's so much fabric. I kind of was tripping over them. I really wanted to like them because they had those side pockets and all the inseam options, but I personally prefer a little less dramatic of a leg, just a little more straight and flowy and not super wide. And they do cling a little bit too much to the upper thighs, but they are super comfy. Next, we have the Petula 365 straight leg pant. These are pretty new and you guys have been asking me about these. I got a size small 35 inch inseam and these are $78. So these come in size extra small to 2XL and they have two inseam options, a 33 inch and a 35 inch. These have a double thickness waistband, no front seam, triangle gusset. The fabric is made out of their 365 fabric, which is the same as their Cassie fabric. It's about a light to mid weight. I feel like this fabric in leggings, it always had a little bit of stiffness in the knee area. Not as much of an issue because these are a wide leg, so I actually do think that they have a good amount of structure for a wide leg pant. I have had pilling in the past on these when I like really was getting rough with it, so just beware. But it's about a mid-weight brushed fabric and it is super soft. In the back, we do have slightly curved seams. These are definitely, again, a little bit more on the long glute friendly side. They're about a high to ultra high rise, not quite as high as the Popflex ones, but definitely more than Oner. This fabric is not super pet fur friendly. You get about a low to medium compression, and you do get a little bit of cellulite coverage in these. Let's talk about the leg shape here. This is very much just a straight leg. These do flare a little bit lower. They flare about mid to lower thigh. Because of that, they did ride up a little bit, but significantly less compared to the Oner and the Popflex. But also because of that, the 35 inch inseam for me is a little bit long. Because I didn't quite ride up too much, I thought the 35 inch inseam was going to be good, but it is just a little bit long for me. So just know that these really don't ride up too much. And I feel like getting a length that's good for you in flares would be good for these too. In terms of the sheerness test, I really didn't have any sheerness at all in these, so they should be nice and squat proof. But my main critique of these is the gusset sits a little bit far forward. Petula has been having this issue. Their gussets just sit too far forward. And because of that, these just kept settling in my crotch. There's no scrunch or elastic or anything up the back, but I was just getting a lot of crotch settling. And I don't really understand it because they're pretty high rise. loose and there's no elastic, so I don't quite understand why this isn't gonna happen to everyone, but unfortunately these were just a little bit uncomfortable in the crotch area. So overall, I really liked how these look. They have a nice sleek look, really good for the tall girlies with these long inseams, but I just had a little crotch discomfort that kind of turns me away from these. Next up, we have the Vitality Cloud 2 Relaxed Trousers. I got a small regular and these were $98. My first thing to say is if you're gonna be charging $100, I wanna see 3 inseam lengths. I was a little bit disappointed to see these only come in a short and a regular. And the short, they said, is 30.5 inches. The regular is 33.5. I actually only measured around 33 inches for mine, which honestly for the length for me is not too bad. Anyways, these come in size extra, extra small to 4XL. It's made of their Cloud 2 fabric. I would say a lot of the fabrics today are very similar. This kind of feels like Oner SoftMotion in the stretchier colors. It's a nylon elastane, kind of mid-weight, very high stretch, brushed, and it's not attracting as much pet fur as the Oner. Sometimes certain brushed fabrics are almost kind of like rough in their texture, which just makes them really grab on to pet fur. This is more smooth, so the pet fur really isn't clinging on too much. I do really like this fabric for a wide leg pant. So we have a double thickness waistband, no top band. The waistband does kind of have a soft dip down in the front, which I find flattering. No front seam, and then we have an extended gusset that kind of goes down to mid-thigh. Looks like it sits too far forward, but on the body it actually was really good. The rise on these is more of a high to ultra high rise, and in terms of the sizing, I felt like it was mostly true to size, but the waist, I just had a little bit of extra space, so I think you could consider sizing down. Then in the back, in terms of cellulite coverage, I would say somewhat cellulite friendly. It's not the thinnest, but it's not super thick. We have these very exaggerated curved glute seams, and I feel like their seams are almost so exaggerated and so high up that they actually don't really contour the glutes very well. If you compare the back of this to something like the Oner Active SoftMotion, where the seams don't have as dramatic of an angle, they just kind of like curve right above the glutes. These go quite high up, and I just feel like they kind of almost miss the glutes. So I didn't really love how these were looking on the glutes. I would say medium on the booty scale, and definitely long glute friendly, like super long glute friendly, even a little bit too high for me. This back seam, I had a lot of extra fabric, and again, this just went like way too high, so I just wasn't loving how these looked in the back. Then for the leg shape, we have another true straight leg, and the flare point is probably one of the lowest flare points. It basically flares almost right above the knee in the lower thigh area, so almost just like an extra flowy flare pant. Because of this, these had very minimal riding up, so I really liked how they performed with that, and also because of that, the 33-inch inseam was pretty good for me. I could have used an extra half an inch to an inch in length, but I could make these work. In terms of the sheerness test, I can't speak to other colors, but this espresso color was quite squat proof. So overall for these, I would have liked an extra inseam length. I really like the material, and I like that these ride up very minimally, but I just don't really love the seams in the back. But I do think these are a good option. They are the most expensive. Next up, we have the Offline by Aerie Real Me extra high-waisted trousers. I got a size small tall, and these were $69 full price, but I think I bought them for like $50 because Aerie always has sales. So these are kind of bridging the gap from the expensive to the more affordable range. These are the only option today that do have a front seam, and they're also the most relaxed option. I actually got these quite a while ago. I think maybe even before Oner had their SoftMotion pants. They come in a size extra, extra small to extra, extra large, and they do have short, regular, and long inseams. The long inseam is a 33-inch. Again, they did not post that on their website, so I did have to measure that out myself. These are made of their Real Me fabric, which is a nylon elastane, lightweight, sleek, ultra stretchy fabric. I will say I have had some pilling issues with the Real Me fabric in the past. It's not my favorite of the Aerie fabrics, but it is nice and cozy and lightweight. The only hesitancy I have with this fabric for a lounge pant is that cat claws will definitely give you a little snag in these. So if Peach sits on my lap while I'm wearing these, I do get a little anxious about it. These are an ultra high rise. They go well above the belly button. Double thickness waistband with no top band. We do have a front seam. The Aerie Real Me front seams are very minimally invasive, so I have zero issues with this. This pant does not have a gusset, and because it's loose even in the upper area, it doesn't actually cause any issues not having a gusset, but we'll see one later on with no gusset that does cause serious issues. Here is one of my quality issues with the Real Me though. I do feel like they're kind of rolled seams like this. Like, I don't even know what I did here, but maybe my thighs rubbing together just kind of like ruined the stitching there. And I have had these for a while, but I honestly haven't worn them like too many times. Again, I just don't find this fabric to be super durable. We actually have sewn in front pockets like you would see in a pair of jeans. lines on these pants. So I do think that's really fun. You can kind of see the stitching outline there. In the back, you just have very slightly tapered seams. They're not really curved. So not super flattering on the glutes in the back, just medium on the booty scale. Because these are such a high rise, I would say these are more medium to long glute friendly as well. In terms of cellulite, if they were tight on the thighs, I would say not cellulite proof, but because they just kind of skim over the thigh and are a little bit loose there, you actually don't really see a whole lot of cellulite. All right, let's talk about leg shape. These are definitely a relaxed wide leg, and really the only area they're tight is right over the glutes. They have some looseness in the crotch. They're not even tight below the glutes, so you don't get that Oner soft motion effect where they're like legging on the top, wide on the bottom. They're kind of just relaxed throughout, so they're actually very comfy and you don't get that cling to the thigh effect. And because of that, we get no riding up because they just come right back down because they're nice and loose. So I actually would like to see more of this style of pant from people instead of the ones that cling to the thighs and ride up a lot. Because they're nice and loose and they don't ride up, the inseam of 33 inches is pretty much perfect for me. Sheerness normally would be an issue in the Real Me fabric, but because these are a little bit loose on the hip area, not super stretched out, that I didn't really have a huge sheerness issue, but I still would definitely be sticking to nude underwear. So overall, I just don't really love Aerie Real Me quality, but I think the shape of these is really comfortable, but still flattering and just kind of eliminates like the riding up and the clinging issues that we have with a lot of other options. So I would love to see more like this in the future. Lastly, in terms of sizing for these, true to size for a slightly relaxed fit. If you wanted it to be a little bit more fitted on the top, you definitely could size down. Our last kind of mid price point option, we have the Kamo Fitness Lunara Flow Pants. I got a size small. These are $48.98, so basically $50. They come in size extra small to extra large, and they only come in a 34-inch inseam option, which actually is a 33-inch because I measured a 33-inch. So that's the only inseam option they have. I really wish they would do more. These are made of a nylon lycra. They're lightweight, ultra stretchy, and very slightly brushed. I feel like these are one of the most similar options to the Oner SoftMotion, and I really do like the fabric. So these are a double thickness waistband, no top band. They do have a little taper to the waist as well to kind of just hold you in. No front seam with a triangle gusset. These are one of the most low rise options. These are a true mid rise. So they do sit underneath the belly button, a little bit below my natural waist. For me, this is a little bit low. It is actually lower than the Oner SoftMotion, but for my shorter torso girlies, you may really like this. In the back, we also have really flattering glute seams. I think the shape of these seams do a really good job of sculpting the glutes, and a slightly shorter back rise. These do sit up between the glutes, pretty similar to Oner. I would say that the fabric is pretty moderately puffer friendly, even though it has a very slight brushed layer to it. It really doesn't cling on to anything. These are definitely a low compression, naked feel, not a lot of cellulite coverage. I give these a medium to high on the booty scale. I do think they're pretty flattering on the glutes, and definitely good for the short to medium glute girlies. Now for the leg shape, again, a true just straight wide leg. These are very similar to Oner on the top, but they do flare on the mid to lower thigh, so a little lower than Oner. Because of that, we do get some riding up, but again, not quite as bad. So because these are a 33-inch inseam, I think I would have actually liked 34-inch, which is what they're supposed to be, because with just that little bit of riding up, I could use a little extra length, but as a tall girly, I actually can make these work. In terms of sheerness, I do feel like you can see the sticker a little bit with squatting, but with nude underwear, you're completely fine, and this is the lightest color they come in. So overall, I actually think that these are one of the best options. They're really well done. The shape is just super flattering. For me, I would have liked a little bit higher of a rise, but if you have a shorter torso and you like more of a mid-rise, these are a great option, and I wish they had more length options. Our first of our true affordable options, these were going viral on TikTok Shop, and those TikTok Shop people, they honestly cannot be trusted. TikTok Shop people will sell anything and everything. That's 100% their hustle, which like respect the hustle, but like they have no morals. They're not like content creators who you learn to like know and trust. Like all they do is sell things, and it's like kind of crazy. So anyways, they fooled me on these. I actually ended up buying them on Amazon because they're available there as well. These are the OQQ soft straight leg bottoms. I got a size small long, and they were $32.99. I think I actually paid $28 because they were on some little sale. So these come in size small to extra large, and I was very pleased to see they come in a short regular and a long inseam, which is pretty rare for these affordable brands. You can definitely tell by the name of these that they are trying to be like the Oner SoftMotion pants, but let me just bring your expectations down real low for these because these do just feel like a cheap dupe, and I have problems with them. So first of all, they're made of like a thick, sleek performance material, which I don't really think makes a lot of sense for these kind of like flowy pants. All of the other materials have been more of a naked feel, high stretch, high flow. These have a lot of structure to them. They're very thick, they're heavy, and they have a lot of shine, so I just don't like the fabric a lot. They definitely run a little bit big. They're kind of baggy in weird places on me, so I would definitely recommend sizing down, which is tough because they only come in a size small, so I literally couldn't even size down if I wanted to. They have a high to ultra high rise, but the waistband is like awkwardly short, and then there's just a really high rise below the waistband, so I just feel like that didn't look super proportional. And then here's the crazy part, guys. We had the Aerie Real Me trousers that were loose throughout, so not having a gusset wasn't a big deal. But these leggings, they don't have a front seam, but they have no gusset. When I tell you, this seam that comes back from the gusset right there, you can even see it sticking out right there. There's a seam all the way there because they just didn't bother putting a gusset. Is so incredibly invasive, unflattering, and just like ugly. Like, it's bad. It's bad. Imagine just having a legging without a gusset. You just don't do that anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Our bodies are three-dimensional, and that's what a gusset does. It turns a two-dimensional piece of fabric to something more three-dimensional that can actually fit our bodies without causing major crotch tension. So major issues with the gusset there, or lack of gusset. Then in the back, we have curved glute seams, but you actually just have one seam that curves all the way down and then a second seam to kind of meet it, which some brands do this, but I feel like it's a little more obvious on this one. It just looks a little bit off. Definitely long glute friendly. It was just way too high in the back here and just not super flattering. So just medium on the booty scale. These are pet fur friendly because they are sleek performance, and the compression is still low, even though it's a thick material, because they just kind of fit baggily. They are somewhat cellulite friendly because of the thick fabric. And then we go to the leg shape. These are a straight to wide leg. They flare at the mid to upper thigh. I forgot to mention the tall inseam is 33.5 inches, and these do ride up, but they still were plenty long after the riding up. In terms of sheerness, these were very squat proof. The fabric is very thick. So even though they flared kind of mid to upper thigh, I think because these are so heavy, they just didn't ride up too much. Overall, these were super hyped up on TikTok Shop. These do feel like a very rush design. I would absolutely not recommend these at all. The lack of a gusset is a major problem. They just fit kind of baggy and just unflattering. I wasn't a big fan of these. And our final affordable option really does redeem us. These are the YEOREO Eddiy wide leg pants. I got a size small. These were $35.99. I think I paid around $32. Again, Amazon just does run little sales sometimes. These come in size extra small to extra large. The only inseam option they have is 31 inches. They say it's 31.5. I measured 31. That's such a bummer because these have so much potential. First of all, the fabric on these is so nice. This one actually feels the most similar to Oner SoftMotion in the other colors. It's this dense knit, but it's still super lightweight. It actually has more of a sleek, silky feel, so it's more pet fur friendly. It just has so much shape, so much flow, and it's actually softer than the Oner ones that I have. We have a double thickness waistband with a slight taper. The design of it overall does feel similar to Oner, except these are a little bit more high rise than Oner. I would say that these are a true high rise. No front seam, triangle gusset. By the way, if you ever see these little like creases or kind of like looks like fabric dye marks on your activewear, that can happen in transit sometimes, but after a wash, they completely go away, so I never worry about that. Overall, these are low compression because they are so lightweight. You're not going to get any cellulite coverage from them. In the back, again, we have nice flattering seams around the glutes here. Compared to Oner, these are more of a medium to long glute friendly. They did go up the glutes a little bit in the back, so they were quite flattering. I say medium to high on the booty scale, and a little bit more medium to long glute friendly. Leg shape, similar to the rest, straight to wide leg. And these do flare at a similar point to Oner, kind of that mid to upper thigh area. I think you can really see on the color of these with the flow of the fabric in the video how sometimes they can kind of just cling a little bit too much to the thigh. Again, I do just feel like it looks a little bit more flattering if these flare kind of like lower to mid thigh or honestly above the thigh, like the Aerie ones. In terms of riding up, again, because they are hitting kind of that mid to upper thigh, they did ride up a good amount. These were already short on me, so with that, they were like even shorter. I feel like to do a 31.5 inch inseam for the regular length, if they do ride up, it's just a little bit short, so this one's definitely going to be a little bit more for the shorter girlies. Overall, I felt like the top of these honestly fit me best out of everyone, and the material is absolutely one of my favorites. Sheerness was not an issue with these. These just have so much potential if they just came in a couple more lengths. So I just really hope we get to see some extra lengths from them. Okay guys, that is it for all of the wide leggings. Let me know which ones look the best to you. Honestly, I could try to break these down into favorites, but I do think they all have some pros and cons. And honestly, I feel like my favorites are actually the YEOREO ones. It's really hard to say, but only if they were in a longer inseam. I am gonna try to get another pair of the Oner Active ones in the longer length. Maybe they adjusted the length. I don't know. The first first ones were just like so long, but then these are a little bit too short. But I think I would love to see more of these styles in the Aerie shape versus the ones that kind of cling to the thighs a little bit, because I do feel like those can kind of look weird. It's really going to depend on your thigh shape and size, but honestly, the comfiest ones were definitely the Aerie ones. Let me know if you guys have any video requests in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!